If you live in Florida, I don't have to tell you, those insurance rates, they are getting crazy. 400% increase. Some are even saying a 900% increase. So, I still have a lot of friends that are there living in Florida. It was a struggle for some people when the hurricanes hit. And I had friends with good insurance, paid for decades. And when they had legitimate claims, they had to wait 4+ years and even hire lawyers for insurance to pay up. One friend gave up and just sold her home with a destroyed roof for the land. I definitely think that we need some accountability here. The recent insurance rate hike crisis in Florida has been a significant concern within the industry. In some cases, Florida residents have been reported insurance premiums skyrocketing up to 900%. Now, as you guys can imagine, this is leading residents to drop their insurance, consider selling their homes, and even move out of the state entirely. For years now, the sunny, vibrant state of Florida has been the go-to destination for lots of Americans. And this is also what has been driving up the demand for housing, especially during the pandemic, as well as home prices. But while Florida was the #1 state in the country that people have moved to in 2022, it was also the one with the highest number of residents wanting to relocate. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, an estimated 275,666 people left Florida in 2022 alone. Nearly 23,000 of these people leave every single month. People are leaving Florida, and the statistics show it. Most, according to the Bureau, relocated to places like Georgia, 46,884 people. North Carolina, 42,301 people. Tennessee, 36,200. South Carolina, 31,456. And Texas, 29,975 people. Everybody's leaving Florida, it looks like. Now, you could probably guess the reasons why. You got the rising cost of living. You got the skyrocketing home prices, high value taxes or high property taxes, the ever growing risk of deadly and devastating extreme weather events like hurricanes. And let's not forget about the HOAs that everyone freaking loves to hate. So the insurance premiums, let's talk about those for a second, which just so happen to be the highest in the country. And they're also one of the main reasons why Floridians are considering leaving the state, as many can no longer afford insurance on their homes. Several homeowners have said that the increased cost of premiums have led them to completely or even partially drop their insurance and even considering selling their properties. And the numbers definitely back it up. Homeowners insurance premiums have tripled in the state in just the past 5 years alone, with residents currently paying on average more than $4,200 per year. The national average is $1,700 according to data from Triple I. Now, some insurance premiums have risen to about 9 times what they once were in 2022, with multi-million-dollar homes generating premiums costing as much as $600,000 a year. Now, I gotta debate on this one. I feel like that number is a little bit off. Ain't nobody paying $600,000 a year on some insurance, so I'm gonna call bull on that one. But whatever the case is, insurance rates are drastically increasing, and they're very, very high, especially for Floridians. This happened partly because it costs a lot more to build homes now. Construction costs, which are taken into consideration when determining how expensive it would be to rebuild a home if it were to be destroyed, have risen by a staggering 40% since 2017. In Florida's challenging market, 7 insurance companies became insolvent over the last year. Also, there's a lot of legal issues that happen to be coming up in Florida, which we're going to get into later in this video. But what's really got experts worried is what could happen if a big, huge natural disaster like a hurricane, I want you guys to think Category 4, Category 5 hurricanes. If it were to hit the state of Florida, many people in Florida don't have insurance today in 2024. So that could be a huge problem. Not having insurance is unbelievably risky. If there's a storm or a fire or a flood and they don't have insurance, well, they could lose a lot. But because insurance costs are going up, lawmakers in the state of Florida are still figuring out how to deal with the big insurance companies leaving the state. more and more people in Florida might decide not to get insurance for their homes. This could be catastrophic for anyone financially. But let me tell you guys another big reason Florida insurance rates are skyrocketing. It has to do with major companies like BlackRock and Vanguard and their ESG policies. For example, their environmental, their social, and governance policies that have made Florida $2 billion away from the company. In fact, some people are saying that since BlackRock and Vanguard and all these major corporations are buying up all these single family homes and houses away from local families, then there should be a corporation housing tax of 30% on these companies and use these taxes to subsidize lower insurance payments for residents in these high risk states. These corporations own about 80% of the stock market and they can afford to pay 30% tax. So yeah, more on BlackRock and their ESG push later. But first, I just want to welcome you guys to the channel. Appreciate you guys for watching the video, for lighting up the like button for me. Really appreciate that as always. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. And that way you don't have to worry about missing out on any of my future videos and updates. And if you own a home, make sure your home is protected. Get your free home warranty quote, link in the description down below this video. Appreciate you guys. Now, you definitely need to hear just how high home insurance rates are getting. Now, I've heard stories about the windstorm portion of people's insurance going from about $10,000 a year, which is not cheap, to doubling up to $20,000. Can you imagine that? That's wild. Now, some insurance agents are flat out recommending to pay off your mortgage and self-insure yourself. Then again, the homeowners in Florida who have mortgages and are required to carry insurance, there's little recourse except to cover the steep increases. Now, there are reports that because of high insurance costs, some are being forced to leave the state entirely. In many cases, including California, Colorado, and Louisiana, there's been a steep rise in the cost of homeowners insurance. But it's particularly staggering in the state of Florida, a state that already has the highest insurance costs in the nation. Many Floridians have seen insurance premiums go up by more than 40% just this year alone. Well, technically in 2023, but you get what I'm saying. And despite efforts by lawmakers to be able to stabilize the market, costs are likely to keep rising, guys. The cost of homeowners insurance in Florida is more than 3.5 times the national average. There are lots of reasons among them for why this is happening. So the 3 hurricanes that battered the state in the last 2 years, you got policymakers and the insurance industries. They're saying excessive litigation has played a major role in driving up prices. Then, of course, you got reforms passed by lawmakers last year and also signed by the governor have begun to limit lawsuits. But nearly a year after the bill was signed, homeowners are still waiting. So basically, the litigation has gone down, but the premiums have not dropped. That's right, guys. The insurance companies are still hanging around to screw us every moment that they can. Another factor driving up insurance costs is climate change. Big insurance companies. I want you guys thinking like, I don't know, Allstate, Travelers, State Farm. Jake from State Farm. Yeah, think about those guys. Anyway, Florida is dealing with rising sea levels and its dangerous storms. A real estate professor says that it's like having insurance. It's like the insurance world is seeing a big change. They realize that the risks have gone up a lot in recent years. There's a lot more disasters happening. I wonder why. Are they controlling the weather? Many people ask this. And there's even more severe weather being predicted in the near future. 2024 going into 2025 could be a real doozy. But still, 5 new insurance companies have been approved to begin writing policies in Florida. Even so, homeowners should not look for relief anytime soon, unfortunately. It's a similar situation in California, Louisiana, as well as many other states seeing double-digit increases in their cost of insurance. Now, experts say that if the private insurance companies keep backing away from the state that they see as high-risk markets, the federal government may be asked to step in. Now, will we see a national wind insurance program? Will we see a national wildfire insurance program? You guys remember what happened over in Maui, Hawaii, in Lahaina, right? I know you haven't forgotten that. Definitely something that's starting to become a possibility. I mean, like, there is a precedent. More than 50 years ago, because private insurance wasn't available, the federal government created the National Flood Insurance Program. The thing is it wasn't a very price competitive type of insurance program. But what are insurance companies doing? Well, I've got this one story from a friend of mine working for Farmers Insurance in California. Now, apparently, a couple of years ago, they rolled out a new computer system, and there's still just so many problems with this computer system. But one of the things they made sure to fix was a drop-down gender menu that includes non-binary and intersex. Now, I think that this is perfectly illustrating where their priorities are in terms of ESG. And yeah, I mentioned ESG a while ago, and BlackRock losing $2 billion from Florida because of it. Now, Florida is devastating from investment giant BlackRock, was one of the recent states to pull assets from the firm over to its environment, social, and governance ESG policies. The Sunshine State's chief financial officer, Jimmy Petronas, I wonder what his favorite drink is, announced that the Florida Treasury would immediately begin removing roughly $2 billion in assets from BlackRock's control. They're saying that using Florida's cash to fund BlackRock's social engineering project isn't something that we signed up for. It's got nothing to do with maximizing returns on, and it is the opposite of what an asset manager is paid to do. They also explain how stakeholder capitalism, or ESG standards, are being pushed by BlackRock for ideological reasons, or to develop social credit ratings, and how the effect is to avoid dealing with the messiness of democracy. And that is undemocratic of major asset managers to use the power to influence societal outcomes, or at least that's what they tell the public. Sounding like corporate overreach to you guys? Definitely sounds like corporate overreach to me. Now, big financial companies such as BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard, they've all been leading a movement to encourage ESG standards like promoting a green energy transition and also left-wing social priorities through the financial sector. But some Republican states and groups like the State Financial Officers Foundation are strongly against the ESG movement. They say it goes against democracy and it hurts taxpayers because it pushes investments that don't necessarily result in maximum earnings for consumers. Florida, led by the GOP, is the latest state to drop investing in BlackRock. Missouri and Louisiana, also Republican-led states, recently announced that they're moving a significant amount of money away from BlackRock as well. But BlackRock has faced threats from the left for not being aggressive, for not being more aggressive with its ESG standards. New York City's comptroller criticized BlackRock, accusing it of not doing enough to fight climate change. They hinted that the city might reconsider doing business with BlackRock and other companies that handle the people's money, looking at how well they take care of climate issues. But then again, the money taken out of BlackRock until now probably really hasn't affected them that much financially. I know. It's only $2 billion. They ain't really going to miss that. Anyway, so BlackRock is the biggest investment firm globally, managing around $8 trillion. That's trillion with a T, by the way. Florida's $2 billion is really just a drop in the bucket for some of these companies. You know what I mean? So anyway, BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street, these three companies already own 88% of the S&P 500, and they're now coming after single family homes in America. I guess, they're just trying to own everything and we get to rent from them and be slaves to their organizations. I guess. I don't know. So anyway, this makes things a lot more challenging for people to be able to buy a home. And we all hear these stories of somebody, maybe a friend, maybe even ourselves, who tried to buy a home, was about to put money down, sign the contract, go into escrow, and at the very last minute, somebody comes in with a cash offer and just takes it off the table. And you're left saying, who is this with this cash offer? And, so you look into it and you find out it's an LLC with an ambiguous name. And if you pull the strings and you follow the breadcrumbs that lead you to BlackRock, they might lead you to State Street. They might lead you to Vanguard. And as Democratic presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. pointed out recently, so that they can outbid you, and they can outbid your children. Our families are now competing against these companies, which are trying to buy every single family home. Definitely something to pick up again in the next video. I'll see you guys there.